local forecast. This is WeatherScope.
Tornadoes and flooding through central Florida today, and the forecast doesn't look good for the eastern half of the country. Welcome to WeatherScope. I'm Terry Smith.
And I'm Christina Abernathy. I'll be taking a look at the west. That's where we find very windy weather in the plains. It's blowing around the newly fallen snow. And folks in North Carolina had plenty of snow to go around on this second day after Christmas.
That's right. This guy was probably one of the few who felt totally at home in the weather. And the children probably came in close second as they took advantage of the hills and the garbage can lid to improvise for a sled. As you can see, the snow was blanketing the Virginia Highlands, and that's in Virginia. What about these scenes? This is just beautiful, Knoxville, Tennessee, where overnight the snow started to accumulate. Folks woke up to a light covering of snow, just enough to slow down the traffic and also warrant the use of a sled. And there is actually more snow in the forecast for the southeast. That coming more so onto Monday and Tuesday, and we'll have a little bit more details about that in a moment. But things have cleared out now, at least in North Carolina and also into Virginia, as you can see here on our current map. But we saw the snows accumulating to the tune of 3 to 6 inches in many of the higher elevations. Bluefield, West Virginia, seeing some of the highest amounts of snow that we saw reported, about 7 inches. And some light snow, about an inch or two. The temperatures have remained fairly mild and generally a little bit above freezing, so that has prevented a lot of snow from accumulating. But our low pressure is still sitting off the coast here, and the northerly and northeasterly winds continuing to pull in the moisture, and with the cold air, we're still seeing some snowfall anywhere from Boston all the way down, believe it or not, to Norfolk, Virginia. Our temperatures, though, have been hovering above freezing, and that's been helpful from one aspect in that with the temperatures above freezing, we haven't seen a lot of snow accumulating yet. But tonight, as temperatures just continue to cool, and we do find some of that moisture refreezing, we may see some slick spots out there tonight. So especially on the secondary roads, not so much in the major cities. Some of the heavier snow accumulations occurred in the northern and western suburbs of D.C., but the snow has tapered off there. But we're getting some reports of some snow around the Norfolk area and on up toward Chincoteague, where the ponies are. Dover also reporting some light snow along Long Island, Hartford, and Boston, where some of the heavier wet snows may cause some problems here around the Cape and cause some brief power outages. But the total accumulations, very light, another 1 to 2 inches perhaps. And we have another storm brewing out west.
That's right, indeed we do, and that is helping to provide some windy conditions through the plain states. As we head here, we're dealing with winds gusting to 30, 40, over 50 miles per hour, and we also have snow that is falling and snow that's already on the ground, and with those windy conditions, it's definitely blowing the snow about, reducing visibilities. And we can see plenty of cloud cover here, and underneath these clouds we are getting a bit of snow, not tremendous amounts of snow falling here. It's more the windy conditions blowing the snow that's causing the real problems. And then as we head back to the west, something else to notice here is that pretty clear skies over much of California, and with calm winds tonight, we are expecting some pretty chilly temperatures here. We'll take a closer look at that coming up. But first of all, the windy weather. We've got our area of high pressure here, our low here, counterclockwise winds around our low, clockwise winds around our high, and the pressure difference between this high and this low providing some very windy conditions, northerly and northwesterly winds here, a tight pressure gradient. When we see this many isobars or this many lines of equal pressure close together like this, we know we're dealing with some wind. So not a great deal of snow here, but we are seeing the windy conditions causing some problems in the Black Hills and then back into the panhandle of Nebraska. And even around Denver, winds have been gusting over 30 miles per hour, but those total snowfall accumulations are not expected to be terribly impressive. Temperatures right now are quite chilly. It's 26 right now in Denver, but you factor the wind into that and it feels like 6 below. So bundle up if you're headed out tonight, and keep in mind that it may not be such a nice night to be out here. And once again, some cool temperatures for the San Joaquin Valley, the central and southern San Joaquin under freeze advisory, so protect that tender vegetation. Time now for more on El Nino. Terry?
If you've ever heard El Nino called ENSO, or El Nino Southern Oscillation, you may have wondered why. It's because El Nino is actually part of a larger climate mechanism, one that is less well known but still very powerful. Marshall Sees has the report in tonight's El Nino Focus.
Southern oscillation describes what might be called the power behind El Nino. It's a seesaw pattern of surface air pressure at opposite ends of the Pacific Ocean. Normally, there's a region of high pressure over Polynesia, which is measured at Tahiti, and low pressure over the western Pacific, near Australia, which is measured at Darwin. Because winds blow from high to low pressure, the prevailing winds over the equatorial Pacific blow from east to west. In an El Nino year, the pressures reverse, and the trade winds diminish or even reverse. That's the Southern Oscillation, and it's those pressure changes of the Southern Oscillation that drive the El Nino. I'm Marshall Sees, the Weather Channel.
For more on El Nino and its effects on the weather, tune into the Weather Channel every night for El Nino Focus. And now, let's look at a snowy forecast with Christina.
That's right.